Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Fellowship of Handos podcast. I am your friendly neighborhood host, Strider, and here with me I have Shiv. What's up?
Hello. How's it going?
Chilling, killing. We are covering House of Dragon, episode 6. We are getting close to I'm assuming, a climactic end of this season. If we can use all the previous seasons of the Westeros world as any kind of indication, the next episode is going to be an insane one. Usually the penultimate episode is the big one. So yeah, this is kind of a bit more build up. As I said, the previous episode as well. Plots are plotting, characters are having their character arcs, they're doing character stuff, and yeah, it's just a lot of not a lot of action, so to say, but actually still there is a lot of action, and we had something really big happen to one of the really big characters. But yeah, just before we go into that, we are a new channel. We'll be covering a lot of nerdy stuff. We've had some news from San Diego Comic-Con. We will be talking about Spider-Man, which is about to come out. We also talked about Odyssey. There's a lot of cool stuff also that we are planning. So if you're interested in checking out some other nerd stuff, by 2, 3, 5, depending how many of us are there in any given video, ramblers, this is the place. Wait, so before we go maybe into the exact plot, or maybe you can lead us into the big plot of the beginning, how are you feeling about where we are in this season? And then let's go to the big thing that happens at the opening of the episode.
Yeah, it was pretty almost spot on, almost premonition-esque, because I do believe I said a couple episodes ago that end of episode previews got me a little nervous. I was like, ooh, makes it seem like the next couple episodes are going to be a bit slower and hopefully lead to a climactic end of the season. And I feel like they're picking up the pace in this episode. This episode I liked a lot more than the previous episode. And kind of segueing into the first point, or the plot point we're going to talk about today, it was ironic because as I was editing the shorts from the previous video, you kind of had like a throwaway comment where you're just like, hey, yeah, Kristen's probably going to die soon, yada, yada. And I was just like, oh, yeah, that's a cool theory, Strider. I could see that. But in my mind, I'm like, it probably happened maybe at the end of the season, maybe next season. Nope. Literally first scene of this episode. So yeah, you're spot on with that prediction, and I feel like they did a pretty cool death for that character too, because I was once again not expecting it. I was expecting him to kind of go one-on-one with someone or the two people he requested and just randomly get shot. Oh, you know what? He got the Boromir treatment, dare I say.
He did get actually it's the Mordor treatment. It's the Mordor acupuncture treatment. That's what he got.
Touche.
But yeah, colloquially it's called he got Boromir. Yeah. But he did. There was three of them, right? 1, 2, and then a third one.
Yeah.
Up there.
Yeah. Not fun.
Yeah. I think it's I saw a lot of people being kind of satisfied with the way this went, especially because he is a great fighter. I think that's kind of understood in the books, that he is also like he is a very capable fighter. He is one of the best at this point in time in Westeros, and the fact that he is thinking of, okay, I'm going to go in the blaze of glory, I'm going to like go out one man against 100 or something, and then he gets shot by arrows. It's just one of those ironies that Game of Thrones and this whole world is just super famous for. You never get the death you expect. So yeah, I guess some would say he got what he deserved, but I think, especially also like in the last episode, he did say, he was talking about, I came out of nothing. I was poor. I was just a nobody, or whatever else. But effectively, he was nobody. He was not like a noble or son of a noble or something. And then he rose to this height on his own merit. And then, of course, he's not a perfect character. He had his flaws. He went against Rhaenyra because she refused him. Like that's a pretty salty thing to do. But still, like I feel like he was a pretty quality character. And I did read that, I think, like in one of those behind the scenes videos, he said that the actor said that even though his character is such a great fighter, he intentionally didn't want to portray him as fighting like in this really super nice way. He wanted it to be like sluggish and dirty and like imprecise and so on, like to portray the fact that they are all really tired, they have been on foot, they have been doing guerrilla warfare for weeks, and then because of that, it was just not like a pretty fight. It was very like, just, is it by the skin of their his teeth or something? I think that's we're continuing the tradition of me confirming which phrases we use in English language. So anyway, yeah, I feel like it was pretty well done. And I've got another little fun fact for you. This is the first time, apparently, according to Game of Thrones Wikipedia, that we hear the words of the House Hightower on screen. I'm kind of surprised this is the case, but apparently it is. We light the way. These are the words of House Hightower. And that's what he shouts with his men when they win that little battle that turns out only to be the trap.
Yeah, what's also interesting about that scene too is a lot of times in war films and medieval films, it's almost like we got to see the triumphant battle through the enemy army, almost, if you will. And what I mean by that is rarely do you see a show or film where they just follow an army that continually gets smaller and smaller and more fatigued until it's just wiped out. Usually it's the hero arc of someone coming in at the last second just destroying an army. So I thought that was kind of an interesting twist that you don't often see, of just watching an army just dwindle down to no one and just end. Like that storyline, done.
Yeah.
Gone.
Actually, that scene reminded me a lot of, I'm a huge fan of Total War series of games. It's this really cool 30 years old or getting close to 30 years old game series. 20 plus years for sure. And it has like, I don't know, 30 titles in it or something. If you looked into the clips, it's very famous for its realistic combat. Like it has a lot of like strategy to the way you fight battles. It's not who has stronger, like it's not like an RTS where it's kind of like a different kind of strategy. It's more like an optimizing your units and so on. Here it's more like slopes affect your troops. If they run for a long time, that affects the troops. If you hit them from an angle, that affects the troops, depending on, is it like with spears, is it cavalry, and so on and so on. Like it has a lot of these, you could say, like real tactical elements to it. And then sometimes it happens that you have to fight a battle against like a very small force. And then that final scene just reminded me of literally probably hundreds of times that would happen. And then you're just trying to get like, I need to conquer these guys. Like I won the battle, but the computer doesn't accept it, so I have to do it. So you just swarm them, like surround them with like thousands of people, and it's like 50 guys in the middle, and you just have to like swarm them in order to not lose any of the army. You just have to like attack them like from all sides just to do it really fast, because you need to like keep your guys alive and so on. So it just like it just looked like that. It just reminded me of that. Good times. I have conquered Europe so many times. But anyway,
Nice.
Speaking of conquering stuff, let's see. So we have a couple of relatively small storylines, so maybe let's go through them now real quick. So we have Alice and Aemond, and kind of the main thing is she wants him to stay with her, and she shows him a hidden clutch of 5 dragon eggs. And also she says that they can rule Harrenhal together, and then they kiss. Then we have Lady Jane that tells Rhaena to leave the Whale after she is caught attempting to see Bela. She is forced to leave the Whale because she broke the promise to stay hidden, because she wanted to try to see her sister, Bela. And then we have also Aegon, Larys, and Tywin Lannister, and they're trying to figure out what to do. Larys is still convincing them to go to Essos. Aegon seems to be leaning that way, but Thailand is kind of proposing an alternative. So yeah, like it's a couple of small storylines that are probably going to come to the fore maybe in the next couple episodes. But yeah, just like maybe real quick, like do you have any particular thoughts on these 3?
I'd say the most interesting out of the 3 to me was the Aemon storyline. It caused me to Google after the episode how do dragon eggs hatch, and because I remember Khaleesi version, right, in Game of Thrones, where
Yeah.
she went in the fire and all that. So I'm like, is that how you do it? But apparently, like the book, Fire and Blood, you need fire and you need blood to do it. And so I'm curious to see if they are to get more dragons out of this and how. Like, do they have to is Alice going to be sacrificed to get the dragon to hatch? Like, where's that going? Or do they get stolen and goes nowhere? Do one of those eggs become the eggs that Daenerys uses in Game of Thrones? Like, that could be a cool twist. Maybe someone knows in the comments or something. Let us know. But yeah, I found that the most interesting out of those three. How about you?
Yeah, I think that's probably the most interesting one. I'm not sure what happens with these eggs. I do feel like we have seen those 3 eggs that become Daenerys' eggs, but maybe we saw them or they got referenced or something in maybe the Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I feel like there was some reference to them at some point, but I might be imagining it. So if anybody listens to this and wants to bother to type this out for us, please let us know. Where are the eggs that Daenerys gets currently in this show or in Night of the Seven Kingdoms? But yeah, overall, it's an interesting plot. And Alice, actually, the actress reminds me of this one girl I know. So it's like quite a lot. So just like funny to see this character being all this witchy, weird person doing all these things that she's doing and being very mysterious and witchy. And then I know, oh, it's this super nice girl, you know? I don't know. It's just funny. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is one of those things where it's being set up. They're like cooking on this one. They're not serving the meal yet. Like in some of these other plots. And actually, speaking of serving meals, a feast for traitors and that whole bloody dinner that they had in King's Landing with the City Watch, Daemon is unhappy with this. Very, very unhappy. And I gotta say, I think it's kind of nice to see him care about something in his own twisted, extremely over the top way constantly. You know, he did care about these people. He speaks when he speaks with the other members of the City Watch. He speaks in first person plural. We will be avenged. We will get our justice, even if it takes us 100 years. Which I think is very nice because he is emotionally unstable, and it's nice to see that he cares about somebody. Anyway, he goes on his little quest as disguised as a city watchman and finds and kills, well, first interrogates an assailant and learns that, yeah, this guy calls Daron the Daring the new king. And yeah, later on we have people who just to like, I'll just like summarize this whole plot a little bit and then you can share your thoughts. Then we also have people from the City Watch deserting, and then the small folk are reporting crimes. And long story short, because of Sir Alan's proposal, Rhaenyra sends for the Velaryon soldiers to help to get them to King's Landing so that they can help and they can kind of like boost the numbers of the City Watch. So, what are your thoughts on this whole little plot here we have with like City Watch, Daemon, these assassins, and so on?
I think if I remember right, it's related to this scene. But what I really liked is, oh man, I forget his name. The drunken dragon rider. I don't know if you know his name.
Yeah, the white Ulf.
Oof. Yeah. I like that scene where at the end of Daemon, dare I say, interrogating the assailant, when he bumps into him and knocks him down, and then the city folk sees him, and like that shows, you know, it's not a good look for the crown to show him beating on someone that's dressed kind of like a peasant. So
actually, he's dressed nicely, but he is well known there.
He's
dressed
well
like he has
there.
that nice clothes, but he is extremely well known.
Yeah. Maybe it's just his hood or whatever is throwing me off.
I think he had the nice clothes, but the hood over it. I think that was the.
Yep. So seeing him get knocked down like that in front of a bunch of people, it's kind of doing the opposite of what Rhaenyra needs right now. She should be building the community up, and I liked how they threw that in there. And I wonder if that's
speaking of building the community. If anyone is interested in talking about nerdy stuff, you should check out our Discord server because it's full of nerdy people and we have a great community there. More than 2,000 people, so go check it out. They talk about all the nerdy stuff. But
smooth.
Let's go.
So smooth. But yeah. I feel like he planted the seeds for that scene for something to happen in later this season with
Yeah.
maybe that character making some rash decisions. So yeah, how about you?
Yeah, I think that's a good call. I kind of know. I've known for some years that there's a thing that will happen. I think at some point during the show, and I feel like this might be one of these little crumbs all over the place that they're setting this big thing up.
Hmm.
But I, won't say anymore because also I might be wrong, and also if I'm not, I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, it's Damon. Like for every good, quote unquote, good thing, for every useful thing that he does, he kind of does two opposite ones, which is going to be, I guess, part of the downfall, whether his or Rhaenyra's or both of them or something. Who knows? But yeah, it's just like we talked about it. This is just like watching a train crash into a mountain, and it's just a very big slow motion, and we're just watching that. But speaking of people crashing into places, Rhaenyra sends assassins to Tumbleton to pose as envoys from House Baratheon. Ser Gawain figures out that they're actually fake, that they're not really from Baratheon family, and kills, and like they start this fight, and he basically saves Daron and Ormond. And it's a bloody affair, pretty brutal, over pretty fast, as these things I guess would be. And then we have this disgusting. I don't know. Disgusting is a very relative term when it comes to Game of Thrones, because someone throwing up is really not that disgusting compared to things that you can actually see in this show. But anyway, Sir Ormond throws up because of the stench. But the interesting thing there is, I don't know if you remember, like Rhaenyra asked Alicent a couple episodes ago about Ormond, and she told Rhaenyra that he hates, like he is very sensitive to smell, which is why he instantly tells them to go clean themselves, and then anyway, Sir Gawain figures it out. But it's just like this. It almost worked. If Gawain wasn't there, they would have been dead. So yeah. And then also in Tumbleton, we have a couple other small things. So Hugh Hammer sneaks into Tumbleton to see his wife, Kat, but they have a big fight. She thought he was dead. He thought he was doing the best thing for them, and she refused to leave her family. And then it's kind of left like we're not sure how that's going to go. But he managed to sneak in, managed to see her at least, and then we'll see how this develops. And also, the last thing was Gwaine is planning to currently go back to the High Tower seat. I think it's Old Town, but maybe not. And he had this whole discussion with Darren, who is kind of afraid of Ormond, but Ormond is obviously in the position of power of all of them there. So there's this whole dynamic going on, and yeah. So Dumbledon, the assassin scene, Sir Gawain being a pretty solid dude, and he has been a pretty solid dude since the moment he came on screen in season 2. We have Hugh, we have Gwen and Darren talking about Ormond. Yeah, what were your thoughts on all of this?
So first thing with the assassin scene, I thought it was brilliant writing, throwing in the like stench and all that, because it's almost a distraction from the obvious, right? And it was only, I'll admit, it was only obvious to me after the fact that they were assassins sent by Rhaenyra. Like I didn't even pick up on that, and during that whole scene, I was more focused on like what's going on with the stench, that I didn't even like put two and two together. So I really liked how they kind of packetized that surprise. With I had a crazy theory I'm going to throw out. Here we go. So with the Hugh scene with trying to convince his wife to come back with him,
Mm-hmm.
what I can see being set up here for tragedy is eventually Rhaenyra is going to order them to attack Tumbleton, and Hugh's going to know his family's down there, and that's going to cause something. That's my gut reaction there. Would be really cool if they end up going that route, but
That's a good theory.
yeah. And then other than that, I think that was it for that storyline. Yeah, so that's going to be more my wild card theory for the day. I think I have. I'm going to go with 60-70% chance of that happening right now. That's my confidence level.
All right. The forecast by Shiv. I mean, yeah, I think it does feel like something that they're kind of building up in this situation because they keep, you know, every episode is mentioned Rhaenyra will not do this to the civilians. She will not dare her people. She needs to find a different way, and then yeah, it might be. Also, it might not be her. It might be that Damon just like
Yeah.
loses and he's like, okay, to hell with it. I'm going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? But I think you're absolutely correct that this is. I mean, it's not going to end well. Nothing's going to end well. This all has a terrible, terrible ending. As what's his name? Ramsey Bolton says, I think it was him. If you thought this has a good end, you're wrong, or something along those lines. Everybody like it's just everybody suffers in this show, or they will suffer if they haven't already, and if they have, they will suffer again. But yeah. Anyway, speaking of some nice things, Sir Alan comforts a troubled Bela, and they kiss. It's a very nice scene, except for the fact that he is her half uncle, which again, relative to Game of Thrones, this is not the worst thing ever, I guess.
Yeah,
Like
not
it
that
could
bad.
be, it's like it's consensual, very much, and I don't know, they're nice people. It's they deserve some reprieve, I guess, even though it is what it is. Yeah. Anyway, I'll just add here that apparently, according to the Game of Thrones Wikipedia, this kiss isn't considered incest in Westeros because he is her half uncle, not her full uncle. And this relationship actually happened in the books, so it's not an invention of the TV show. And actually, even for non Targaryens in Westeros, this relationship, for some reason, that is not considered incest. And it actually happens relatively commonly. Tywin Lannister married his first cousin, Joanna, and even Eddard Stark's, so Ned Stark's parents were first cousins once removed. So yeah, apparently this was not actually incest. So hell yeah, go Bela, go Ellen. You got
Wow.
any quick shouts there?
Only thing that's hilarious is the timing of that scene, because once again, last episode, I think either you or I said something like, "Oh, maybe there's something there between Adam and her," and
Right.
I think maybe I think I said that, and then you said, "Oh, well, they're related, so maybe not." But what? But this is Westeros, so maybe. And then lo and behold, their brother or his brother, right? Half brother or brother.
Yeah.
There we go. So yeah, timing again. That's hilarious.
It is. I think actually they're twins. I think Corlys
Oh,
actually had a couple of sets of twins. I guess that's just how he rolls. Speaking of Corlys rolling around, at Alan's request, Corlys is sending men to King's Landing, but actually ends up captured by John Roxton, Ormond's lieutenant. So this is a big blow for Rhaenyra. I'm curious to see how this will go. I really like Corlys. He is one of my favorite characters. He is one of the few people here that you can say is kind of like a stand-up dude, and he's brave soldier. He's brave. He's skilled. He's smart, wise, cunning, and has a strong sense of honor. And is also very handsome. Can't take that away from him. Just really cool dude and a huge asset for the blacks for Rhaenyra's side. So the fact that he is captured, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping he somehow gets out of it. But again, Game of Thrones, probably not. But yeah, I guess we'll see. But I think that we're kind of getting close. There's like one more big point to discuss. So, what are your thoughts on what do you think? What awaits Corlys?
ugh, pulling on my heartstrings. I hope he gets out of
Right?
it too.
Yeah,
Like he's got it. He's got to find a way, and I hope they
manifesting.
don't do something. Yeah, manifesting. Let's safe return, please. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they'll try to do some kind of bartering or trade or something. Like, yeah, I don't know. I can't really see I don't have the clear picture of the end here. It's just Game of Thrones is Game of Thronesing. We got
It is.
chess pieces all over the board. Anything could happen right now. I definitely feel like something's going to happen in Tubbleton. Like that one way or the other. Like I feel like there's three options, so let's try to predict those real quick. One, maybe Ormond starts going crazy and starts killing town people in Tumbleton, and that draws Rhaenyra out. Maybe Daemon, rogue, like trying to protect his men and stuff, just goes there. Or 3, Rhaenyra makes a decision to do it. That seems like one of those 3 options is plausible, but who knows? We'll see. But yeah, with Corliss, that was the biggest cliffhanger of this episode for me. I don't really know where that's gonna go.
Yeah, who knows? I do think I agree that something's going to happen in Tumbleton. It will be. What did you say? How did you name one of the videos?
Let's get ready to Tumbleton.
Let's get ready to Tumbleton. Yeah, I think something's going to happen. It's going to be interesting to see what. But okay, actually, so I'll just throw this one in here because we're going to Rhaenyra's storyline anyway, or back to her storyline. The title of the episode is called Faceless Men. Do you know who the Faceless Men are in Westeros? Do you remember that from Game of Thrones?
Is that the one that Arya trained with?
Hell yeah. She trained to be one of the Faceless Men, and they're like these like top tier, most expensive, most like 100% rate assassins. And this episode, that's how it's called, right? But actually, we didn't see them we didn't actually see any of the Faceless Men in the episode, even though I thought like, oh, it might be like the guy that Daemon captured. I thought he might end up being one of them, but I guess not. I guess it was more in reference to the fact that there were several assassination attempts, like in King's Landing, and then these people attacking Ormond and Darren and so on. So I guess it was more like a reference to this, and they just called it, like, in a metaphorical sense, Faceless Men. But anyway, I just thought that would be an interesting thing to bring up, because yeah.
And you bring up an interesting point there. If maybe you know the lore for this, but if those Faceless Men exist during this time period, I wonder if the actor who played one of the, I forget his name, but he was in Stranger Things, really cool guy. I wonder if he could reprise his role in House of the Dragons if the Faceless Men have a appearance at some point during this decade. That could be interesting.
I think they exist. I'm pretty sure they exist, but I'm not sure who from Stranger Things. Like, was he also in Game of Thrones, or?
Yeah, if you saw Stranger Things, he was the guy stuck in the. Oh, you haven't?
I saw the first 2 seasons, and then Netflix took 15 years to make the 3rd one, and then they lost me.
He was the main. Wait, am I confused? I might be confusing things. Am I? No. I think I'm right. He was the guy that was training Arya the most. He had like the long hair.
Yeah, so he was in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, his name, his quote unquote name is Jaqen Hagar in Game of Thrones. No, it would be cool, but I would probably assume he won't appear. But it would be cool if he did somehow, like as a cameo or something.
And his name, God, I'm gonna butcher his last name. His first name's Tom. His last name is Lashisha.
No, could be
Ulaschiha. It's a German name.
Vlashisha.
But I cannot. Vlashisha. All right, go with that.
This sounds like a Slavic last name, actually. But yeah, he seems to be German. Let's see.
And I can't even pronounce his character name. It's like
Jakin. Yeah. It's derived from an old Slavic personal name, combining roots for rule and glory, like in the name Vladislav or Vladimir, and so on. Yeah, there we go. Actually, that name comes from around where I'm currently residing at. Anyway, that was a cool little etymological segue. Anyway, it would be nice if he showed up, but I mean, I would not be opposed to that, but also, I don't know. I don't think it's too likely to do that. But what is also unlikely to happen is for Helena to have a nice life. And she, out of most people, probably deserves it the most. So yeah, back in King's Landing, one of the plot lines was the one that we ended at in the previous episode, where Alicent and Helena kind of got stuck in one of the tunnels underneath the Red Keep, and they are found by the guards eventually, and yeah, they are more strictly confined to their quarters. They have this whole discussion with Rhaenyra and Alicent, and you kind of cannot blame Rhaenyra for acting the way she is, but also it's like understandable that Alicent was trying to do the things she was doing. Anyway, this whole thing does cause Helena's mental health to deteriorate further. I think she does a bit of, I don't know if it's like a word that YouTube like flags or something. So she kind of damages herself, like her fingers, because she was also like sewing something, or what's the word?
Oh,
Like
yeah, I would just call it sewing. I don't know. It's like a tapestry or something.
yeah, like she was making something, and actually, this will lead us to the next point, but. Yeah, I just want to say once again the loveliness and warmth and sadness that Helena's actress is able to portray. She just pulls on the like tugs the heartstrings so nicely and so gently somehow at the same time. I don't know. She's just doing a wonderful job. The writing, the actress interaction with everybody else is just so good. And she's one of those where it's like I really feel sorry for you. Like of all the people, you really didn't do anything bad to literally anybody. You're just trying to take care of your kids and that's it, or tried, or like I don't know. It's just really not nice. But with there's a better word, embroidering. I don't know if that's the word, but like with the
That
sewing,
sounds closer.
yeah, it does sound closer. She basically I don't know, saws image of Damon in Harrenhal, and Alicent figures out that he is there, and it's a
Or
pretty
Aemond,
cool.
right?
What did I say?
Aemond in Harrenhal, right?
Oh, I said Damon.
Yeah, but no,
Yeah,
you get a pass.
yeah. Aemond. No, good catch. And they're meant to be very similar. Anyway, yeah, Aemond is in Harrenhal. She does say this to Rhaenyra, and then Rhaenyra actually agrees to free them if Alicent goes to Harrenhal and brings an assassin with her to take the life of her own son. And I think that's kind of where the episode ends, pretty much. Or I think maybe the last episode, maybe the last scene is when Corlys gets captured. I'm not sure, but anyway, this is kind of where this ends. So yeah, good times. Taking a mom to do this to her child, like it's always a great time. What did you think of this whole little Alicent, Rhaenyra, Helena situation?
Yeah, I think one of my other theories was too dark for Game of Thrones because I remember saying it would be crazy if they just were trapped in that room and that was their end, and like it just randomly would cut to them still being trapped. But I mean, this in some ways is more twisted than that idea because now she has to go and take care of her own child, so that's also messed up. I am very curious to see how that plays out because I doubt she would do that. So there's probably gonna be some trickery or deception there. Maybe she gets him to flee. Who knows? Technically, she's out there, so all she has to do is tell Aemon to kill the assassin, and now she's free, right? So that seems pretty cut and dry there.
Yeah, but then again, Helena is kind of in trouble. But I don't know. The actress herself, the actress who portrays Alicent, talked about how Alicent might be the worst mom in Westeros. Like whatever she does, it just ends up badly for her kids. It's just
Sophie's choice.
yeah. It's all the choices at once. Anyway, I actually did remember. So this is kind of where we end this. I did remember one thing that we forgot to mention, and I'm going to bring this up now because I know you enjoy this very much. What do you think? So we can just go back to this a little bit. What do you think is the fate of King Biff, second of his name? Like, do you think Aegon and Laris will flee or not? I have no idea where this goes. So I'm as clueless as you are. Like we are both like in this situation we are completely the same. Completely like okay, well let's see
Oh,
where the show takes us. So what do you think?
I
Where
know
does
where
Biff go?
I know where he goes. Where he goes does not need road.
Oh my god, he's going back to the future?
We're keeping the meme alive, guys. We're keeping it alive.
I mean, it's right there. He really does look like Biff.
But
He's about as spoiled as Biff.
he is pretty spoiled like Biff. There's a lot of well, if we ever get the opportunity to interview any of them, that would be my first question. It's like, did you draw any inspiration from Biff from Back to the Future? But yeah, for Essos, I am wondering if they'll make it that far. I feel like in Game of Thrones fashion, that's going to be derailed. They're going to somehow stay around here and find their way back towards King's Landing or something, if I had to guess. But yeah, be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think there's time for this plot for them to go to another continent. It's like, crossing the ocean to go from Europe to US, but it's like 14th century. I mean, it's not. It wasn't the easiest. It was being done, or actually 14th century, not yet. It wasn't done. Well, it was, but not officially. It's complicated. It's history. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I'm very curious where this is going to go because they keep just walking around aimlessly, or just trying to find their best way, I guess. But the fact that they're with Thailand now, I just don't think he's gonna go because he's a lord. He's the Lannister. He's the Lannister lord, and I don't think he's gonna leave this. So I think rather he's gonna maybe convince them to stay or something like that. But yeah. Anyway, I think this is kind of it. It was a solid episode, I think, for me. And shout out to Fabian Frankel, the actor who played Ser Criston Cole. The man did a good job. Sir Puppy Eyes is how I always thought of him, because he has puppy eyes. Even though he was the character himself he wasn't the coolest, I would say. But anyway, shout out to him. Did a good job. And yeah, I think solid setup for what will probably be a pretty explosive finale. The last two episodes, one way or another. I don't know if we're going to see any big battles, but some big stuff is going to come down, and it could be that Tumbleton is going to be no more, one way or another. But yeah, any final thoughts?
Since you gave a shout out, I'll give a shout out again to Dan Fogler, who plays the Master of Coin. I remember I keep saying like, oh, I want more humor there. And this episode, we got a little glimmer of that where I think Damon threw something at him. I thought that was pretty funny, and I'm glad he's getting some more screen time.
Yeah, that was a solid moment. Yeah, I think some bits of comedy are really needed in a show like this. So, hell yeah. Anyway, I think that's it. Or is it? Because actually, something really cool is going to happen this week in Fellowship of Fandoms. Shiv, do you want to tell us what's a big thing that's going to happen in a couple of days?
Don't mind if I do. I believe Thursday, so if we get this thing out tomorrow in a couple days, on Thursday, we're going to be releasing our first episode of Fellowship Film Club, which is a double feature of 2 movies. And this week, we're covering the movie Her and The Royal Tenenbaums, which are 2 great films. If you haven't seen them, definitely check them out and then watch our episode and join in on the conversation. We do have a community section in our podcast episode where we look at people who left comments, wrote in, etc., and we try to answer or add to the discussion there. But don't feel left out if you got into that episode too late but still want to discuss Her or the Royal Tenenbaums. We'll easily cover them in future episodes where we look back on previous comments and conversation pieces. So yeah, we're looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the movies we cover. And I guess I could say too, after that episode airs, the next 2 movies we'll be covering for the end of August will be The Thing and 28 Days Later. So if those are your cup of tea and would like to hear those conversations, we'd love to hear your thoughts. So please comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and join us on this monthly film club.
All right, those are cool. I did not know this, so this is also a reveal for me. Hell yeah, that sounds fun. I will definitely be tuning in for that one. I'll be tuning in for this one too. I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to have a series like this that just covers 2 cool movies and then just have a proper discussion about it. So yeah, follow FoFCast for more. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff going on, and yeah, if you're up for following some nerds, talking nerd stuff all the time, then this is the place. Anyway, I think with that, we can close for tonight. Come back next week. Next week is the penultimate episode of House of the Dragon Season 3. It's probably going to be a big one. Who knows what terrible things are going to happen, but we'll be here to talk about it. So yeah, until the next one, great way to stumble with the words. See you next time.